Hey, besties. So I'm trying to reorganize all my fiber stashes and stuff. And in the process, I found these fibers. So I want to just do a mixed pan of fibers and we're going to dye them. So I have some bleached Tussa silk. You can see it's going to be $3.98 an ounce was my cost. I have some gray Shetland top. This is brown yak, just straight yak. And this is yak and silk. It's very lovely. And we have faux Angora. This stuff it's a nylon, but it's so soft. Like faux Angora, it's like soft and silky. It's so pretty. So we're gonna dye some of that too. I'm pretty sure it's nylon, so I'm pretty sure it's gonna dye really good with an acid dye. So the next thing we need to do is decide what colors. I'm gonna pull out my dyes here. These are the ones I got from Acme Fibers, and I'm putting them all backwards so I can't see what they say. We should have 12 of them because I'm pretty sure I ordered 12. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then I have my little friendly dice. That's right, we're gonna do a yeet for dye. I think this is the 12-sided dice. So, first thing we're gonna do is roll to see how many of these 12 dies we're gonna use. This could get a little crazy because we could technically get a 12 and have to use all of them. I know I am out of my mind, but that is not a surprise to any of us, I don't think. Let me just grab a little bin. This'll work, just so the dice doesn't go flying off across the kitchen. All right. Yes, I just blew on the dice. Let's see how we do. Oh, we only have to use 3. Okay, so we need to roll 3 times for which dies we're going to use. And we should decide which way we're counting. I cannot see them. The backs are to me. So we're going to go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So which 3 are we going to use? Well, we got a 3 again. So 1, 2, 3. This one is black, light blue. All right, in case this is making it roll a 3, we're going to move that. 11. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. I could have just gone back 1 from 12, right? So this is, ooh, fluorescent orange. All right, one more. In case you can't see, that is another 3. So we're going to re-roll that. That would be, does the dot go to the top or the bottom? I think it goes to the bottom, so that would be 9. 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Fluorescent red. Well, that is an interesting combo. So we got fluorescent red, fluorescent orange, and black light blue. Well, I don't know how this is going to go, guys, but we're rolling with it. I said yeet for dye. This is dye for dye, not yeet for dye. We changed the name. Sheesh. We want all 3 colors across the whole thing, so I'm going to do just stripes down the pan. So we will start with some yak and silk. This is just tied onto the end. So we'll pull that off. So I think we will just do 2 lengths of the pan. So we'll take it to here. Oh, I love a yak silk blend. It is magical. And when it dyes up, it's even more magical. Just going to tie this on the end so I can find the end of my roving. I'm so excited. We're going to get our advent calendar soon. Like soon within the next few weeks kind of deal. But that's soon to me because I live in the butthole of nowhere and stuff takes a long time to get here. All right, so there's our yak silk. Just going to turn these ends in a little bit. Actually, I'm going to untwist it so it lies a little flatter. kind of fluff it out a bit. So we'll push that over. Next we have just our brown yak. And we'll do 2 lengths of that. You know how I love to over dye the colors. It's going to be interesting to see how the fluorescents take up on the darker colors. Okay, so there's our yak. You know what we're going to do is we're going to do the yak silk, the yak, and the silk. We're going to save our Angora as a dye stopper in case we need it. And we will do the gray Shetland at another time. Oh, look at this. I have a chunk of silk already ready to go. Oh, I like this plan. Then we can see how different it's going to look on the individuals as well as the blend. Oh, I like this idea. Look at that. See, things happen sometimes when I just roll with it. Okay. And then later we can do probably the Shetland and the faux Angora together. Okay. Now, because this is silk, it's going to need to soak. Otherwise, the silk won't uptake the yarn or the dye very well. So, I will fill this pan with water and we'll let it soak for a couple hours. They usually say 24 hours. I'm never that good. I usually, if I can last a couple hours, I'm doing well. So, I'm going to go get this filled with water, let it soak, and we'll be back. I want you to bear with me here. Silk is hydrophobic. It resists soaking up the water, which is why you have to soak it for so long to get a good penetration. In order to break the hydrophobic properties, you can use soap. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to mix up a little bit of soapy water just to add to this to kind of encourage it to soak it up faster. Now, what I want to do is use a spray bottle. So give me a minute to find a spray bottle and I'll be back. So I found my little Dollarama bottle and I filled it all the way up to there with warmish water. And I'm just going to add, this is not concentrated dish soap or fairy liquid as they call it in the UK. So I'm going to add a fair bit of it. See, this is non-concentrated. All right, so I threw that in there. I'm gonna put my sprayer on and I'm gonna gently, so we're not making a lot of soap or like a lot of foam, but just kind of let that mingle together. I see why I don't use this. It leaks like a sieve. Okay. I want a nice, fairly wide spray. Oh, that's pretty much a shot. There we go. And I'm just going to spray this over the top. Now, I don't know if this works, but I do know that when you have a little bit of soap in your fiber, when you dye it, it has great effects. It really helps with the dyeing process. It sounds like I'm talking about ending your life. Dyeing process. Dye with an E. D-Y-E. With an E. With a Y. They both have an... My brain power is just amazing today. Okay. We're talking about the dye with a Y. Because both words have an E in them. Oh my gosh, I'm such a dumbass sometimes. All right, so I don't know if you can see it, but it is helping the fiber to soak up that water more. Now, the yak is also very, very hydrophobic because it is a down fiber. It takes it a long time to soak up that water. And it is also extremely prone to felting. So I'm just very gently pushing it down, trying not to agitate it, especially now that I've added soap to the mix. I'm just asking for it, I know. But I'm going to proceed anyways. Okay. There. Now hopefully that'll help it soak up that water a little better. It's got about another half hour to go for a full hour soak. So now that I've added that, look at that. The yak is trying to get with the silk. It wants to be like this one. Okay. I'm going to put that back to soak, and we are going to mix up some dyes for this. We have fluorescent orange, fluorescent red. No, let's go the other way. No, let's go this way, because then we might get some purple between the red and the blue. Now, I do know that the black light blue is a very light color. So I'm going to use a lot of dye. I'm going to use half a teaspoon of dye for that one. It does seem like a lot, but that is a very light color, and I want to get it as dark as I can. So that's the black light blue. Now I think that the fluorescent red and the fluorescent orange are stronger colors. And because we're going over dark fibers, I do want to make them a little stronger. So I'm going to use a 1/4 teaspoon in this one. And remember, we do have our faux Angora as a dye stopper if needed. So I'm not worrying too much about mixing these really strong, especially since I'm going over like a fully dark brown yak. Oh, this is so fun. I am so excited all of a sudden. And our fluorescent orange. And we're going to use half a teaspoon or a 1/4 teaspoon of that as well. There we go. Okay, so there's our bases. We're going to add a little bit of hot water to each. I'm just going to use this to rinse off my spoon. Splash. 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 All right. Now we get to mix them. One of these smells really funky. Okay. So once I have that all mixed up, I'm just going to add some tap water to it. There we go. And just a reminder, do as I say, don't do as I do. Wear a dust mask when you're working with fibers. I am a 53-year-old lifetime smoker who lives near a nuclear plant. I am not overly concerned about inhaling some nasty stuff, okay? I'm pretty much contaminated and I'm not worried about it. You should be. Wear your mask. Okay. And I'm also not working with a lot of dyes 24/7. Like I'm like once a month working with a little bit of dye. So I'm also not worried about that. Regardless, wear your mask. All right, there's our colors. Fluorescent orange, fluorescent red, and black light blue. And you can see how much lighter that black light blue is. And I put like a half a teaspoon in there. So we may end up adding a little bit more. We'll see how it goes. And now we're in a holding pattern until that fiber finishes absorbing the water. So we will be back in a half an hour and dye up our fibers. It's soaked long enough. I can't wait any longer. I want to go. So we're going to go. Ready or not, here we go. Just going to floop it down a little bit more. There is a lot of water in here, so I think what I'm going to do is drain out some. I'm going to use my little basket here to kind of hold it in place while I drain some of the water off. Okay. It just kept all the fiber from falling out of the pan as I was draining off some of the water. Now I will carefully Spread this out. Okay. And here we go. So I'm going to go black light blue, fluorescent red, fluorescent orange. Where is my spoon? There it is. Oh, you know what? I should probably have put citric acid in this first so it would stick where it went. Oh well, too late now. I want my tongs though, so I can lift this a bit and get it underneath. So you can see, even with all that black light blue that I used, it's still very, very light. And it is traveling way farther than I'd wanted. I put too much water in. Okay, so what I'm gonna do is mix up some citric acid. And I want to make it fairly strong, so I'm going to use a half cup of citric acid, roughly. You know me, I love to add a lot of citric acid. Okay, so I just mix some into a bowl here. Just going to mix that up, make sure all the citric acid is dissolved. This is just the marks on the bottom of the thing, I think. Oh, no, it is actually citric acid. Get in there. Get in there. I'm going to pour that on. Get it all over. Push this down again. Now we're going to add our fluorescent red. That's actually staying good. And we're going to toss in our fluorescent orange. And I suck. So, there we go. You can see how it's just going to overwhelm that black light blue. But this is what the dice said to do. So we do what the dice says. I don't argue with them. Okay. I'm going to pop that in the oven, but I'm going to leave it for 10 minutes. And then if we need to, we'll add some dye stoppers. Well, now we've got the dishwasher and the kettle going, but it's time to check on our baking. Let's see how our yak and silks are doing. Oh yeah, I pretty much overran that black light blue. But look at the purple. Oh my goodness. I can't be mad about that. Okay, so we do have like a ton of dye in here because I went way overboard. So, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna start tossing in some dye stoppers. Otherwise, we're gonna be here all day. I mean, I'm going to be here all day, but we're going to be working on this all day if I don't fix it. Okay. I have some faux Angora here. And I'm going to add that to the mix as soon as I can find an end. This is so soft. It's a lovely fake fiber. Man-made fiber? I guess man-made fiber is a better name. Just the ghost in the house knocking stuff around. And I'll just start pushing that down. Oh my goodness. Look at what we're going to have to do. We're going to have to mix that fluorescent red and the black light blue. Because look at the purple it makes. That is gorgeous. Oh my goodness. And I'm pretty sure that the fluorescent orange just got overrun by the red too. So apparently fluorescent red is like a very dominant color. But I love this purple. This is amazing. We are doing that. We may even do that today. See what happens when I just muck around? I find out things that turn out spectacular. Like, I can't believe this. This is gorgeous. Look at how they blend up on that faux Angora. Just gorgeous. Just gorgeous. Oh goodness, now I'm singing. Sorry to inflict that upon you. But look at it. It's so pretty. That purple. That's just... oh, I love it. Okay. Gonna pop that back in the oven. Give it another... I think we'll give it 15 minutes and see how it's doing. And if we have to, we'll add some more citric acid. But I really don't think we need to have... we should have to, because I put in quite a bit. All right. Into the oven she goes. Somebody was shouting at me while I was trying to make videos. Say hi, Tay-Tay. Oh, now he can see out the kitchen window. He's like, wait, what's that out there? My sweet baby. He wanted attention, but he doesn't want attention. Very cat. Can you hear him? It's my handsome boy. Our 3-pack has been cooking for a bit. Actually, it's a 4-pack now because we added the Angora. Let's see how it's doing. This is so pretty. That Angora is just... wow. Oh yeah, we still got a ton of dye in there. Ooh, we got a ton of dye everywhere. All right. I'm about to take some extreme measures. Well, maybe not extreme, but I'm going to take measures. Because that is not even close to exhausting. I mean, it's exhausting as in, whew, this is wearing me out. But not exhausting as in all the dye is gone. So, we're going to mix up some more citric acid and pop it in the oven for another 10 minutes and see what happens. Maybe we'll even give it more than 10 minutes. Yeah, that's not really, really hot if I can stick my finger in it like that. The dishwasher finally stopped running. I had it on the sanitize cycle because they were flushing hydrants, which makes the water a little murky. So I wanted to make sure my dishes were clean. So it runs for about 3 hours on the sanitize cycle. Okie dokie. I'm going to add some of this. Just love that purple. I know I've said it about a gazillion times, but I really do. All right. I'm going to pop this in the oven. I'm going to go 20 minutes on this bad boy. Let's get her cooking because those colors are... I want to see them on the darks. I bet you they look really cool on the yak silk. Ooh, I hope so. I hope they show up. That blue might not. All right, I'm going to get it in the oven, let it cook for a while, and we'll be back. Let's see how it's doing. Well, we know it got hot this time. Nice and steamy. Aye. Yeah, so touch the hot pan with your bare hand, Tammy. Oh, we're definitely getting some of that color absorbed. Still quite a bit in there, though. All right. Well, I guess what we can do is go one more round of dye stoppers. So let me grab some fiber. I got too ambitious and put my fibers away. But I am going to top this off with some silk. It's picking up some cool colors. Right, we're going to pull this to the side, put our silk down. And I'm going to squirt a little bit of soapy water onto it. See, you can't tell me that doesn't make a difference. Like, look how it's just sinking so much better now. Like, it's just absorbing the water. Like, look at this. You can't tell me that adding soap to a hydrophobic fiber doesn't make a difference. I think it absolutely does. And I'm really liking that color. Okay, let's tip it a bit. Squeeze out that extra dye. Looks like the orange has absorbed pretty good. It's just that red and that blue I just don't want to absorb. Okay, where are my tongs again? There. Just gonna pull all this over. Squeeze that dye out. Spread this out. I'm hoping I'm not handling this too much. I'm trying not to agitate, just move it. But you'll never know. I'll blame it on Bobbo. I'll say he needed my fibers while they were drying and felted them. Down a bit so it's not sticking out of the water completely, and I'm going to cook it for another 15 and we'll see what happens. Hopefully that'll take care of the rest of it. If not, I'm going to wash it as is and we'll see what happens. Ready? You look first. You probably can't see because it's so skinny. Ooh, I like the pastels on the silk. They look so pretty. Oh, there's still a little bit of dye left. Well, what if we grab up our silk from this side and move it over to this side? That silk is going to be so tangled. Okay, I'm just going to let that cool. I'm done futzing with it. We've got like a cup of citric acid in this. And reds are notoriously bad for fully exhausting. So I'm just going to call this done. I'll let it cool. And if I have to give it an extra rinse, I have to give it an extra rinse. I'm not worrying about it anymore. So I will let it cool, get it washed and dried, and then we will have a look at it. So I'll see you probably in a couple days. Here's our dye for dye that ended up being each of the fibers individually and then the fibers blended. And they've turned out pretty darn cool. Now remember, these were all done in the same bath. They're all the same dye, same length of time, same amount, all that fun stuff. But you can see this is the yak, dark brown yak. And you can see how it's got like deep golden colors to it, like just so pretty. That blue just barely shows up on that, but the red and the orange give it such gorgeous fall colors. So that's just straight yak. This is the yak and silk, and you can see the difference in how the colors take up. You can see how much brighter the yak silk is because that silk just lightens it right up. And then we get like into some purples and some reds and the blues. I love the blues in this. It's so pretty. But you can see the difference between just the yak and the yak silk. And then we bring in the straight silk. And you can see how bright it is. I love this mix right here. It is so gorgeous. This is still a little bit damp, but not bad. But it's just so pretty, these blends. But you can see how much lighter it is than the... Let me wiggle that in there. There we go. So you can see how the difference, this is yak silk, and straight silk. And you can definitely see the differences in how they take up the yarns, especially take up the dyes, especially in this section right here with the blues. You can see how the yak just barely has a cast to it. The yak silk picked up a lot more of the blue, and the straight silk just sucked that right up. It loved the blue. They're so pretty. I love how the colors look so different. And it was all done in the same dye bath. Like, I didn't cheat. This is all in the same pan. And it's just how the fibers pick up the dye differently and just make it so, so pretty. And you know me, I love to over dye those dark colors. And I think the yak really came out quite lovely, except for the blue. The blue is obviously just too soft a color for it. But in the yak silk, it is fantastic. Just fantastic. So, we have a project with our dye for dye fibers. So, let's get spinning and see what we end up with. Just before we get to our yak silk experiment, I wanted to show you these. These were the dye soppers that I used. I didn't realize how little of the yak and the yak silk I used. So there was a ton of dye left in there. So this is the faux Angora that I used to sop up some of that dye. And look at how pretty that is. It's so bright and just gorgeous. I love it. So this is going to make an amazing yarn. We'll probably spin up a sample of that too, just because I can't resist. And then this was our final dye sopper. I just threw in some silk to soak up the last of that dye. And it came out in all these gorgeous, gorgeous pastel shades. Like, we know I'm not a big pastel girl, but darn it all, look at this. It is absolutely fantastic. Let me get the bright colors out of the way so you can fully enjoy the look of these pastels. They're just soft pinks and purples, and there's little bits of peach in there too. It is just stunning. It's looking darker on the camera than it is in real life. It is very, very soft and lovely colors. So these dye soppers turned out epic, and I will find a use for them for sure. They're just so pretty. I was just so surprised at how gorgeous this came out just sopping up the loose dye. So our dye soppers ended up being epic on their own, which is really fun. And these are all black light, so they'll glow under a black light. I'll show you that when we have the yarns. I do have black light, of course. But these were our dye soppers, just the soppers, and they turned out so epic. All right, let's get to spinning. We have our knitted sample, well, knit and crochet, all done up. So this would be the straight yak. And you can see the crochet stitches here and the knit stitches here. And the colors are very subtle. I like it. Then we go to the yak and silk. And the colors are a little more intense. There's the crochet, there's the knit, and then there's the straight silk. Look at how bright that is. It's hard to believe these were all done in the same dye bath, but they were. I promise you, they were. You watched me do it. So here's the whole thing all together, so you can see the progression of the colors. Now, here's the fun part. These are all black light reactive. I have not tested it yet, but I'm curious to see how it'll look here and here. This one's going to glow, but how will these two glow? So I'm going to turn off the lights, grab my black light, and we're going to see how it looks. 1 second. Okay, let's see if it's dark enough. don't know if that's picking up on camera. But it definitely glows. That is so cool. Oh no, my black light is dying. Love how it glows. That is so cool. Especially on this yak, because you don't see that blue color really at all without the black light. It's more brown. But once you add the black light, you can really see the blues. That is so cool. I guess it makes sense since it's black, light, blue, right? All right, that's enough playing. So that's it for today, guys. I hope you enjoyed this little adventure in Yeet for Dye with different blends. I thought this was very fun, and I love how you can see the differences between the yak, the silk, and the blend. It was fun! But thanks for joining me, guys, and I'll see you on the next chaotic adventure. Bye!